5-ton Rockwells. What do you have to do to put them underneath your mega truck? In this video, I take 2 steer axles to put one in the front and one in the rear. I spin the knuckles, I spin the diffs, and I weld the spider gears. Basically, if you're wondering what to do, this is going to show you. I'm fixing to spin the diffs so that my drive line is more centered because my transfer case is right in the middle. And one thing to know is you always want to put your drive shaft on the big bearing of the chunk. There's a small one and a big one. So whenever I spin this around to get it more center, well, now I need to spin the knuckles so that my steering is on the outside where I want it. You can do it differently if you like, but so essentially both axles are going to be identical. The rear end and the front end, they're both at the end, so you can spin it around and it's still going to be identical. Word of advice, when trying to break these brake drums loose from the hub, go ahead and leave the hub on the axle so that it's solid, you can hit it and actually get it off. Because if you take this off and try to get it apart on the ground, you're about to fight something, I'm telling you. Sometimes they come right apart, but I can tell you this one, it had a broken stud. That would have been impossible probably for me to get it off had I not left it on the axle. So the next part is this outer the hubcap that the axle slides into. Yeah, take that off, and then it exposes the end of the axle. Then you have these 2 nuts. So if you can see here, there's a mark where obviously somebody didn't have the right size socket for this, as well as myself, I don't. So I take a big screwdriver and a hammer and I can tap that down and it'll twist it off. Then this is a ring that locks in place. Slide that off and do the same thing to the nut behind it. Another thing is these caps that are on top of the kingpins, you don't want this big old arm sitting on here. So you find you another set of the bottom caps and you put those on the top, then it's all clean and nice looking. You don't have all this stuff hanging off the top. Or do like some people do, they just chop it off. I think I know where another set is, so I won't have to chop these off. So I have this big pair of channel locks. So I'm gonna see if it'll work instead of me beating on this with a screwdriver and a hammer. And it did. Heck yeah. Good. Go ahead and take the bearing off so it won't fall in the dirt. There it is. How about that? This is a 900 series axle right here. That is a score. I wonder if the other side has a 900 in it too. If that's the case, I thought I had a good deal on these set of axles. Got a much better deal than I thought. Yeah, the axle literally just slide out. And looks like been making some contact. So the bolt that keeps this thing from turning too far, rotating too far, is broke off, so it's getting too much angle and the axle was binding up and rubbing itself inside. Another 900 series axle. So right inside of here is the spider gears. I'm going to mark these caps, pull all these bolts, and drop that out of here. And I'll separate the carrier and use one side of it as a jig to hold the spider gears, tack them all together, and then I'll weld it all out. So I'm gonna figure out if I'm gonna set it on the floor and pull it apart or what I'm gonna do. So here we go. All right, well, I could only get one of these bolts loose around the ring gear. And technically I didn't even get it loose. It's still super tight. My impact won't take it off. Somebody stretched all these bolts. Not a big deal. I have heard of people taking and welding the spider gears in all of these windows on both sides. And that's quite a bit of surface area. So I don't think there'll be an issue with that. But I've got a spare diff already and I think I'm gonna go get some more. So we'll find out if this works good or not. So. In case you're wondering, that's to keep any welding splatter out. It might not work, but it should if I keep an eye on it. Well, I can tell you, my welder has probably never worked as hard as it worked today. That joke is hot. I'm gonna weld the front and rear diffs in the mega truck. If I didn't have rear steer, I probably would only weld the rear end, but because I have rear steer, I'm going to weld it up all the way around. It'll be posi front and rear. Old MIG welder getting after it today. All right, so in the rear we have the spider gears are all welded together, and in the front we have the spider gears welded to the ring gear housing, whatever you call that. So next I just gotta drop that in the diff, bolt it down, get it adjusted back, and I can glue it in there, swap the knuckles, put the axles back in. This job's almost done. What you're trying to do is take this ring gear out so that you can get to the spider gears and weld them so that it's posi. There's two different ways you can do it. You can just weld the spider gears through these windows, and then you don't even have to take the ring gear out of this chunk. But there's a lot more weld and it's a lot stronger if you take all this apart. So I'll show you what you got to do. Just take a paint pen like this or something and mark it in a way. Don't just mark every single one of them, then you won't know where it's supposed to be. Like I put two here, and one here. And you take all these nuts loose. You got to take this little pin out, or this little piece of flat bar that's stuck in the grooves here. You take that off, loosen this up, spin these off. There's one on both sides. That's what sets the ring gear side to side. Whenever you go to do the spider gears, you can just take all these bolts loose and the ring gear housing will separate and it's all in there. You can use one side, lay it on the ground, and just lay all the spider gears in there and it'll hold it square. You can go around and tack all of them and then weld it all up and make sure that it fits down in there still. That's basically all you got to do. All right, so next we are taking and spinning the knuckles. I've already got this side off. And basically to take these off, there is this big cap with these centric washers or wedge washers, whatever they're called. Take that off. There's a little washer in here. Make sure you don't lose it. And you can smack this with a hammer, it'll start to come loose. And do the same thing on the bottom. It has two pieces just like the top. Slide those off. Once you get all these apart, you can literally just take and pick the whole knuckle up and rotate it off of the top kingpin. I will be taking these and spinning them so that the right side is on the left side and ends up putting the steering on the back side of the axle, whatever. And I'm replacing my boots. I'm testing something out because 5 tons are new to me. I have a couple of these solid rubber boots, and then I have some zipper boots. I'm gonna use zippers on the front, and I'm gonna use the rubber ones on the rear, and we'll see which ones hold up better. And just like I welded the diffs 2 different ways, we'll see which one of those holds up better. My bet is that I don't have any problem with neither one, but who knows how the boots will work out. I am super grateful that I bought 3 steer axles because you can't hardly tell in the camera, but that bottom pin, kingpin, is about half the size as the top one. It is that wore out. The thing is an egg shape. So the other knuckle, it wiggles on the kingpins just as bad as this side does. So I'm pretty sure they're both just ruined. So I'll drag that other housing over here, snatch this chunk out and put it in the other one. I was gonna use the kingpin bushings out of that other axle in this one, thinking that it was just the bushing, but it's obviously much worse than that. I played hell getting this thing off, and I didn't even get that bottom bushing out. So I'll just throw all this to the side, keep this good chunk, start over. Bolts that go around this that hold the spindle on the knuckle are 9/16 12 thread, a standard thread. These were a pain to find because nowhere around me stocks them, and I end up buying out both my Tractor Supply, my Lowe's, another Lowe's, and another Tractor Supply just to get enough of them. So basically, you slide the axle in, then you pack this thing slap full of grease, and you silicone this on and run all the bolts in with 6 Ooga Doogas, and then it's torqued to spec, and you can ride out. Well, hopefully you guys found this informative. I didn't find any videos that covered all this stuff whenever I was trying to do the research before I pulled the trigger on 5 tons or whatever. I had to search through probably a dozen videos and I only found bits and pieces, and I had some people that I could ask some questions to, luckily. So hopefully I covered any questions you might have had as far as what it takes to convert these to mud truck axles. Stay tuned for more videos coming about me building the subframe, my steering, my brakes, my hydraulic steps, the pumps, the switches, all that good stuff. So there's more coming, so stay tuned. Appreciate it.